Hi, it's Mark from Training Spark with an interesting video today showing you how you can integrate the Metaverse and virtual reality into your LearnDash courses. Now, this video is inspired by a talk that we went to see at the WordCamp EU conference in Athens recently, and it was by this guy called Javier Salinas, and he created a talk on how you can integrate Metaverse into WordPress to create immersive 3D experiences. And if you're using LearnDash, you're delivering training, and online training is a potential way that VR could be used, because you could easily use VR to immerse people into experiences and teach people, potentially like the layouts of buildings or how to do things in a virtual environment that you couldn't necessarily do elsewhere. So it does have some really good applications in an online learning space. So what we thought we'd do is just show you some of the things that we learned on that talk, and you might be able to then use them in your LearnDash courses potentially. So what Javier talked about in this course was this open source web framework called Aframe, which you can use to create these virtual reality environments. So it says it's a web framework for building 3D, augmented reality, and virtual reality experiences. And it's open source. And in simple terms, it's something like this. You can create these things where people can move backwards and forwards and, look around things. And, it's that's your simplest application. But they do have other things that you can do here and, really build up some interesting stuff. And so behind the scenes of these virtual reality activities here, that the code is actually quite simple. The code for this, all it has is what the item is and the positions and the colors and things like that, and the code is actually quite clean. So what we're going to do is show you how you can potentially use this on your WordPress and LearnDash platform. So what we're going to do is come to our LearnDash platform and log in as an admin if you haven't done so already. We're going to go to plugins and then add new. And then the plugin we want to look for is one called EZ, spelled EZ Aframe. And it's this one here. And at the time of recording, it doesn't actually have that many active installations. So, it's up to you whether you want to use this, particularly in a production environment. This might be something you just have a play around with initially, just to check if it's something that you might want to do on your platform. But bear in mind, it doesn't have a massive user base at this point. What we're going to do is install it, and we're just going to show you what you can do with this. There we go. Right, so let's activate that plugin now. And once you've activated it, we'll have this option in the left-hand side called EZ Aframe. And it doesn't give a huge amount in terms of documentation or anything like that. Literally, all you have are these projects, and you can create a new one. But hopefully, more it'll become clear as I start to create one. So what we'll do is go to Add New. And what this will do is create as a basic 3D scene here. And we can do this Start Studio. So we don't actually need to have any external software or anything like that. We can create things just using our browser here. And what this is using is something called the Aframe Inspector. And that is something that is, by the creators of Aframe, I understand. And you'll be able to get to it via this Getting Started and learn a bit more about it. There's also some videos, so I'll put a video in the description of this video, just showing you a bit more about this Aframe Inspector and how you can create things using it. And this will be a lot better than what I will be able to do in terms of Aframe, because I'm fairly new to it as well. But this just shows you the possibilities. But let's have a look at it in here. We can see that we can select items here and move them around. We can change the size of them as well. Like squash it down into a M&M shape if I wanted to. And on the left hand side here, what we can do is add objects. So we can see we've got a box, some sky above, things like that. This sphere here. So I'll just add a new one here, and then you choose these primitives. So you can choose what you want here. So there's lots of different shapes and lights. And what I'm going to do is just choose a cone here, which has been added down here, look. And I will move that up. And we can change things like the colour of this. So, the colour at the moment is white, but we can change it to this green if we wanted to. And then just shift it around. We can also map images onto this. So if I click on here, I believe we can select an image from our media library and use that. And that looks a bit odd, but you can see that we've got this weird green thing here that you can change the opacity of, and there's a lot of different things you can change. So you can make the whole thing slightly less transparent, or you can give them sort of rough edges somehow, or there's lots of different things that you can do if you really want to get into this. You can also add things like lights. So this is adding a light here, and this will just make it so that obviously one side of the 3D scene is more illuminated than the other, and you can see that being reflected here. And what we can also do is add other objects. So we can import ready-made models as well. So if what we can do is add a component on the right hand side here, and there are some 3D components that you can download, and these are these GLTF models. So what we can do is choose GLTF model here and select it. What we do is upload it to our media library. So I downloaded one of these earlier, and I'll show you where I got it from, this brainstem.glb. And I'm going to just upload it to the media library, use this model, and then it's just added to the scene here. So this I can't claim any credit for, because this is one I downloaded, but you can see here that it is possible to add pre-made models in here. And what I did to get that, I just went to Google and searched for download. What was the type of GLTF model? Something like this. And I think it might be this GitHub one here that I downloaded it from. This is just so it had some source models in here, and you can use that brainstem one that I'm using here, but there's lots of other ones that you can try. So we've got that in there. So we've got a very weird looking scene here, but let's have a look at what we can do in terms of getting this onto our site and into a course. So I've just clicked save here, and this does sometimes take a little while to do. You can see it's saving up here in the right hand side. It says it's saved. Strangely, you've got to give it a title separately, so I'm just going to call this my example scene. And you'll see here we've got a shortcode. So what I'm going to do is just copy that for now to the clipboard, and we'll use that again shortly. And then, so now that I've added my example scene, I'm going to save it, and I'll just wait for it to save again here. So now what we're going to do is insert this into a LearnDash course. So what we'll do is head to one of our LearnDash courses here, Healthy Eating for Healthy Life. And we're just going to put that into one of these. So to do that, we would just edit the lesson and paste in the shortcode that we just copied there. So as you can see, it's this WP frame viewer. We can set a width and a height by the looks of things. So I might just, I'll leave it as it is for now. But if you did want to change that, then you can do. And if you open it in the VR mode, it does actually open it in full screen anyway. So we can see here that we've got that in, and it's our very weird looking scene here. And what the user can do is click on this VR, and it will then load, and we're actually seeing it as you should do. So it's using the light that we created, and we can move around it. And this has nothing to do with healthy eating, but I'm sure you might be able to create something a bit more relevant to your courses. So that's just an example of how you can get VR into your LearnDash courses. So it's just interesting to see how accessible VR is now via something like this Aframe. So, it doesn't seem like it's been adopted that widely yet, but could be in the future. And the person who ran that talk at WordCamp EU said that they see a potentially big future in 3D, and you might see as many 3D websites in 10 years as you do 2D, and this is really just the start of something like this. So yeah, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a like, and if you'd like to see more like this, please subscribe to the Training Spark YouTube channel.